You know that feeling, that gut-wrenching feeling when you check your savings account after a year of being good? You skipped the lattes, you cooked at home, you drove the old car, and you look at the balance and think, that's it? It feels like you're filling a bathtub with a thimble. You do the math in your head, and you realize at this pace, you'll be able to retire roughly 3 weeks after you die. It's discouraging, it's boring, and honestly, it's exactly why most people quit. But here's the thing nobody tells you. Money has a speed, and right now, your money is walking. But if you can just get to a specific number, it starts to run, and eventually, it flies. My name is William, and I spend way too much time thinking about the invisible math that rules our wallets. Most people give up during the slow years, what I call the grind phase, because they don't understand the physics of compounding. This video is going to encourage you to persevere until the math catches up with you. If you're someone who feels like no matter how much you save, you never see your savings grow significantly, subscribe and like this video if it helps you. Okay, let's get into the weeds. There is a very specific phenomenon in finance that explains why the rich get richer and the poor stay poor. And no, it's not just the system is rigged, though sure, there's some of that. It's actually just math. Let's look at a quote from the late, great Charlie Munger. He was Warren Buffett's business partner and basically the Yoda of investing. He famously said, "The first $100,000 is a bitch, but you gotta do it. I don't care what you have to do, if it means walking everywhere and not eating anything that wasn't purchased with a coupon, find a way to get your hands on that first $100,000. Why was he so aggressive about that specific number? Why 100K? Why not 50K or $1 million? Here is what most people don't realize. $100,000 is the critical mass point. It's the tipping point where your money starts working harder than you do. Let's look at a concrete scenario. And look, I know everyone's income is different, but for the sake of the speed of money math, we need a baseline. Let's say you were able to save and invest $10,000 a year. That's about $833 a month. Now, maybe you're thinking, William, I don't have $800 a month lying around. Stay with me. Even if your number is half that, the principle remains exactly the same. The timeline just shifts. So you're saving $10K a year, and you put it into a standard S&P 500 index fund. Historically, let's be conservative and say you get a 7% annual return after inflation. Year 1, you have roughly $10,700. Year 2, you're at about $22,000. You are grinding. It feels slow. You are doing all the heavy lifting. In these early years, nearly 90% of your net worth is coming from your paycheck, your labor. The market is barely helping you. To hit that first magical milestone of $100,000, assuming that $10K per year contribution and 7% return, it's going to take you roughly 7.84 years. Almost 8 years. That's a long time. That's nearly a decade of saying no to the nicer car, packing your lunch, and dealing with the psychological pain of seeing your friends go on vacations you can't afford. This is the valley of disappointment. This is where 90% of people quit. They look at their account after 5 years, see 60K, and think, is this worth it? And they cash out to buy a boat. But, and this is where it gets really interesting, let's look at what happens after you cross that finish line. You have $100,000 invested. You keep doing the exact same thing. You don't get a raise. You don't win the lottery. You just keep putting in that same $10,000 a year. To go from 100K to 200K takes only 5.1 years. Wait, what? The first 100K took almost 8 years. The second took 5. Why? Because on your 100K baseline, that 7% interest is generating $7,000 of free money in the first year alone. Your money has effectively become a part-time employee earning nearly as much as your contributions. Let's keep going. To go from 200K to 300K, that only takes 3.7 years. From 300K to 400K, 3 years flat. Do you see what's happening? The speed of your money is accelerating. By the time you're aiming for your 6th 100K, getting to $600,000, it takes less than 2 years to add another $100,000 to the pile. The effort you put in, the $833 a month, never changed, but the result changed drastically. This is the concept of velocity. Think of a rocket ship leaving Earth. A rocket uses something like 80 or 90% of its fuel just to get off the launch pad and fight through the thickest part of the atmosphere. It's fighting gravity, it's fighting air resistance, it's loud, it's violent, and it's slow. That is your first 100K. You are fighting the gravity of life. You're fighting rent, student loans, inflation, and your own desire to buy cool stuff. But once that rocket reaches orbit, it can travel 17,000 miles per hour with barely any fuel at all. Now, maybe you're thinking, okay, William, the math is cool, but 7 years is a long time to wait for the fun part. How do I speed this up? I'm glad you asked, because there are 3 accelerator pedals you can press to shorten that 7-year slog down to 4 or 5. Accelerator number 1, the brute force start. Mathematically, money you save today is worth exponentially more than money you save 5 years from now. If you can live like a complete hermit for just the first 2 years, I'm talking get a roommate, sell the car, eat rice and beans, and you can double your savings rate just for those 24 months, you drastically cut down the timeline. I call this front-loading the pain. Would you rather be slightly uncomfortable for 7 years or miserable for 2 years and then cruise? Most people choose the slight discomfort, which is why they never reach escape velocity. They get lifestyle creep fatigue. Which brings me to accelerator number 2, defining enough. The biggest trap that resets your velocity to 0 is moving the goalpost. You finally hit $50,000 in savings, you feel rich, so what do? You trade in your Honda for a Tesla. You just killed your employees. Remember those little dollar bill employees we talked about? When you spend that capital on a depreciating asset, you aren't just spending $50,000. You are firing the workers who are going to build your retirement. That Tesla didn't cost you $50,000. If you account for the opportunity cost over 30 years, that car cost you roughly $400,000 of future wealth. Is the car cool? Sure. Is it worth $500,000 of your retirement? Probably not. Accelerator number 3 is for those of you who can't double your savings rate overnight. It's the 1% rule. Every time you get a paycheck, increase your savings rate by 1%. Just 1%. If you save 10% now, make it 11% next month. You won't feel the difference in your lifestyle. It's like $20 or $30. But if you do this every few months or every time you get a raise, you prevent lifestyle creep. The goal is to get your savings rate to 20 to 25%. If you can hit 25%, that 7-year timeline we talked about, it drops to roughly 4.5 years. Now, I want to address the elephant in the room, the psychology of why this feels so hard. It feels hard because our brains are not wired for exponential growth. We're wired for linear growth. You hunt 1 deer, you have food for a week. You hunt 2 deer, you have food for 2 weeks. Linear. But investing is, you hunt 1 deer, and that deer gives birth to a baby deer, and then the baby deer hunts for you. It's weird. It's counterintuitive. The gap between what you expect to happen, linear, and what actually happens, exponential, is where people lose hope. In the first few years, the exponential curve is actually below the linear line. You feel like you're losing. But you have to trust the math. The math does not care about your feelings. The math creates the curve whether you watch it or not. So let's wrap this up with a reality check. The first 100K is going to hurt. It's going to be boring. You'll look at your friends buying houses you can't afford and cars you shouldn't buy, and you'll feel left behind. But you are building an engine. They're just painting the car. Once you hit that number, whether it takes you 4 years or 10 years, your financial life changes forever. You stop working for money, and money starts working for you. The stress goes down, the options go up. You can take a job that pays less but makes you happier because your investment portfolio is picking up the slack. Don't stop pushing the boulder. You are closer to the top of the hill than you think, and once you tip it over, gravity is finally on your side. I want to know in the comments, where are you on this curve? Are you in the grind phase, the first 10,000, or are you approaching that critical mass of 100,000? Let's talk about it. And if you want to see exactly how I invest my own money to hit these milestones, check out this video right here where I break down my entire portfolio. Don't buy the Tesla. See you guys next time.